Have you ever planted a perennial, watched it bloom beautifully through summer, and then come back the following spring to find it completely gone? No trace. Empty dirt. You did not fail at gardening. You were a victim of what I call the June mistake. And today, I am going to show you exactly what it is and how to fix it for 11 of the most popular perennials you can grow. Fix this one thing, and a $75 to $150 investment becomes a forever garden that lasts for decades. Let's go. Here is the June mistake in one sentence. Treating a newly planted perennial like an established one. Every plant you see celebrated as bulletproof or drought tolerant earned that title after years of root development. Most nursery plants arrive with what I call a nursery hangover. They have been pampered in greenhouses with constant misting and synthetic fertilizers. When they hit your garden soil in June, they have shallow, fragile root systems that cannot survive a summer heat wave without your help. The plant looks tough. It is not. Yet. Give it one first summer of specific attention, and it will earn that reputation for the next 20 or 30 years. Plant number 1, daylily, Hemerocallis spp. Daylilies are the backbone of the American landscape, hardy in zones 3 through 9, with trumpet-shaped blooms that can last for 20 to 30 years in a mature planting. Every gardener has seen an established clump surviving a drought in a neighbor's yard and assumed their new $6 plant can do the same. That assumption is the June mistake for daylilies, and it kills more of them than any pest or disease. A new daylily has no deep roots. When the first heat wave hits, it wilts. Without intervention, it loses the energy it needs to return next year. Pro tip: water deeply once or twice a week throughout the first summer, wetting the soil at least 6 to 8 inches down below. A slow, deep soaking is far more effective than a quick surface sprinkle. It pulls the roots downward into cooler, moister soil, rather than keeping them in the hot, dry top layer. Ignore the plant's tough reputation for one season. After that, it genuinely will not need you. Plant number 2, Coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, Echinacea is one of the great prairie natives. Electric pink and coral petals around coppery raised cones, blooming from midsummer through fall. Its famous drought tolerance is entirely dependent on a deep taproot. That taproot does not exist on planting day. The $5 starter plant you bring home in June is entirely dependent on the shallow moisture in its immediate planting hole. And this is where most people make the June mistake. They water on a rigid schedule, which actually prevents the roots from developing the depth they need. Pro tip: do not water on a fixed schedule. Instead, check the soil 2 inches down with your finger every few days. If it is dry, water deeply. If it is moist, wait. This cycle of slight drying followed by deep soaking forces the developing roots to reach deeper into the earth in search of water, creating the very taproot that will allow this plant to thrive in poor, rocky soil for the next 15 years. You are not neglecting it, you are training it. Plant number 3, Black-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia fulgida. Golden yellow petals, rich chocolate centers, one of the most reliable color shows in the late summer garden, hardy in zones 3 through 9. But the June mistake for Black-Eyed Susan is not neglect, it is kindness. Specifically, the well-meaning impulse to fertilize heavily or deadhead aggressively in the first year to force a big bloom. Here is why that backfires. A new plant has limited energy. When you push it toward flowering, that energy comes directly out of the roots. You get a bigger show in year 1 and a weaker plant for every year after. Pro tip: resist the urge to push for a massive first-year display. Water deeply once a week and essentially walk away. Let the plant build its underground architecture rather than spending energy on aesthetics. The reward is a performer that returns with triple the flower count by year 3 and keeps going for a decade or more. The sacrifice of one season of heavy bloom pays dividends for 10 years. Plant number 4, stonecrop, Sedum spectabile. Stonecrop is the plant that demonstrates the June mistake most clearly, because the mistake here is the exact opposite of what you would expect. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, sedums are succulents with fleshy, water-storing leaves, so the assumption is that they need no water at all. That assumption kills them. Those succulent leaves can only store what the roots can provide. A new plant has no deep root system to draw from. Paradoxically, your $5 to $8 sedum is the plant most likely to be killed by underwatering in its first June. Pro tip: water your newly planted stonecrop more carefully than almost anything else for the first 6 to 8 weeks. Provide a deep soaking once a week through June and early July. After that initial establishment window, begin reducing water gradually. By year 2, it becomes one of the most drought-proof plants in your garden, but only because you saw it through that first vulnerable summer correctly. The toughness is real. It just has to be earned. Plant number 5, Russian sage, Perovskia atriplycifolia. Russian sage offers that silvery Mediterranean architectural presence, hazy blue-purple clouds from July through October, and it is famously deer-resistant. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. It looks impossibly tough at the garden center, and that is exactly the problem. Because it looks so drought-loving, most people plant it and forget it. They ignore the nursery hangover entirely. The shock of moving from a sheltered greenhouse to a harsh, full-sun border is significant. Without help through that transition, Russian sage establishes poorly and never reaches the full, bushy presence it is capable of. Pro tip: use a tiered watering strategy. Water deeply twice a week for the first 6 weeks, then reduce to once a week for the remainder of the first summer. Then, and this is critical, stop supplemental watering entirely from year 2 onward. Russian sage actively dislikes irrigation once established. Continued watering in subsequent years produces weak, floppy growth. One summer of care, then deliberate neglect. That is the formula. Plant number 6, catmint, Nepeta spp. Catmint is the hardier, more moisture-forgiving alternative to lavender. Those mounding, aromatic plants with lavender blue spikes that bloom from May through October. Hardy in zones 3 through 8. More resilient than most, but a June heatwave can still devastate a new $6 to $10 planting. If the root zone dries out completely in the first month, the plant may never fully recover its vigor. And the danger is not just water stress, it is temperature. The soil surface can heat to damaging levels on a hot June afternoon, and tender new roots sitting in that hot top layer suffer, even when there is technically some moisture present. Pro tip: apply 2 to 3 inches of mulch, bark, or compost around the base of newly planted catmint immediately after planting. This regulates soil temperature and prevents the temperature spikes that cook tender new roots during hot afternoons. Combined with a deep weekly watering, this gives catmint everything it needs to establish. Once it does, you will have lavender blue spikes for 15 years with almost no supplemental water. Plant number 7, hosta, Hosta species pp. Hostas are the undisputed kings of the shade garden. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, capable of living 20 to 30 years with proper establishment. But they are subject to a uniquely deceptive version of the June mistake. Because they live in the shade, gardeners assume the soil is staying moist. The surface often looks dark and damp. 6 inches down, it can be bone dry. Shaded soil dries from below, not from above. The surface holds visual moisture long after the root zone has become critically dry. Relying on what you see is the mistake. Pro tip: You cannot rely on a visual assessment with hostas. Perform a 6-inch finger check every 3 to 4 days during the first June. Push your finger into the soil to the second knuckle. If it feels dry at that depth, water deeply. This manual verification is the only reliable method for keeping new hostas alive through their first summer. Once the deeper root system is established, the plant becomes nearly indestructible. But that first summer requires the check, not the guess. Plant number 8, bee balm, Monarda didyma. Bee balm is the exception on this list, and understanding why it is different is as important as knowing the rule. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, those shaggy, vivid flowers in red, pink, and purple are hummingbird magnets, and the minty fragrance is extraordinary. But unlike every other plant here, bee balm is not a drought-tolerant species. It genuinely dislikes dry conditions, even after it is fully established. A newly planted bee balm allowed to dry out in June will almost certainly develop powdery mildew, a fungal disease that coats the leaves in white film and weakens the plant's ability to return the following year. The dryness is the trigger. The mildew is the consequence. Pro tip: provide consistent moisture through the entire first summer, and continue moderate watering during dry spells in future years as well. This is the one plant on this list where the watering does not stop after establishment. Bee balm wants moisture long term. Give it what it wants, and it rewards you with a vibrant, expanding colony of hummingbird-attracting flowers that returns reliably for 10 to 15 years. Plant number 9, Salvia Nemorosa. Perennial salvia is beloved for its intense purple spikes and compact, tidy form. Hardy in zones 4 through 8, experienced gardeners know that cutting back the first flush of blooms encourages a second show in late summer. And that knowledge, applied at the wrong time, is the June mistake for salvia. Cutting back a brand new plant in its first June can be a death sentence. A newly planted salvia needs every leaf it has to feed the developing roots. Aggressive deadheading in year 1 redirects energy away from the root system at exactly the moment the root system needs it most. Pro tip: wait until the plant has been in the ground for 1 full season before you begin aggressive deadheading. In year 1, let the flowers fade naturally and keep the foliage completely intact. This allows the plant to build the energy reserves necessary to survive and perform for the next 8 to 12 years. The second bloom trick works, but only on a plant that has earned its roots first. Plant number 10, Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. Yarrow is perhaps the hardiest plant on this entire list. It thrives where almost nothing else will grow, hardy in zones 3 through 9. And ironically, the June mistake for Yarrow is not neglect, it is overwatering. Because we want to be kind to a new plant, we water it as much as we water our roses or hydrangeas. For Yarrow, this leads to weak, floppy stems, and most critically, fatal root rot. Yarrow requires moderate stress to develop its deep, extensive root system. Water is not the reward here. Controlled drought is. Pro tip: water yarrow deeply only when the soil is dry 2 inches below the surface, typically every 7 to 10 days during the first summer. This slight, deliberate neglect teaches the roots to reach deep. From year 2 onward, yarrow should receive no supplemental water at all. It actively dislikes the irrigation that other perennials crave. Treat it mean, and it becomes one of the most structurally impressive, ecologically valuable plants in your entire garden. Plant number 11, Peony, Paeonia lactiflora. Peonies are the grand dames of the garden, some documented to live for over 100 years, hardy in zones 3 through 8. Because they are often planted in fall, many gardeners assume they are established by the time June arrives. They are not. That first spring and summer represent a critical transition period where the plant is still building its foundation, and where the most common mistake in all of peony culture is hiding. The pink buds, called eyes, on the root crown must be buried no more than 2 inches below the soil surface. Not 3, not 4, 2 inches. Plant them deeper and the peony may produce lush, beautiful foliage for years while never producing a single flower. That is the most heartbreaking version of the June mistake. A plant that looks healthy and simply never blooms. Pro tip: after confirming correct planting depth, water deeply once a week during the first June and July. Do not expect a massive bloom show until year 3. That timeline is normal and not a sign of failure. Your patience is an investment in a plant that will still be blooming 50 years from now. And when you see ants on the buds, leave them completely alone. They are harvesting nectar, they are harmless, they are part of the process.
Your past failures with perennials were almost certainly not your fault. They were the result of one missing piece of information: what that specific plant needed in its very first summer. Now you have that information for 11 of the most popular perennials you can grow. Pick the one you lost before. Try it again. This time, you know the secret. Drop in the comments which plant you are giving a second chance. I want to know. Like the video if this explains something you have been wondering about for years, and subscribe to Cultivel for more content on building a garden that actually lasts. I'll see you in the next one. Happy growing, everyone.